Hello book babes, baddies, and welcome back to Romance and Rosé, where we exclusively read romance and hardly ever drink rosé. Welcome to our new posting days. I have decided to swap from posting Friday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to Monday afternoons, 12 p.m. There's a new series I started over on my Instagram and TikTok called Barnes and Hopeful, and those turned out to be more longer form vertical series, and I found filming and editing both pieces of long form content so close together, I anticipated it eventually becoming hard to keep up with doing both of those at the same time and posting them on the same day, so I decided to spread the love a little bit. So now we will do our episodes of Barnes and Hopeful on Friday, and then I will have Saturday and Sunday to prep for YouTube Mondays. Sound good? I'm not really asking, I'm telling you, but I hope that sounds okay because I am also a people pleaser. Summer is no longer around the corner, it's here. It happened so fast. I originally wanted to do a video talking about books on my summer TBR, and then I thought, you know what I think the people would like better? Tried and true summer book recommendations that I have actually read, loved, that you can add to your summer TBR. And then I thought, why not both? So this is going to be a two-part video. This video, part one, being my tried and true summer book recommendations to you. And part two will be the books that I am kicking, screaming, gagging to read this summer for myself. Okay, this first batch of summer romance recommendations, it's gonna seem basic, expected, predictable, but what can I say? You just cannot go wrong with an Emily Henry novel in the summertime. You just can't. They really just embody heart, summer, romance, and I think she does it so well without feeling like frivolous. I just love Emily Henry as a writer, and they're basically turning every book she's ever written into a movie. So picking up one of her novels is just giving you a little bit of a head start. Starting with People We Meet on Vacation, because they have already adapted this baby into a movie, and it's phenomenal. But in my opinion, still just different enough from the book where you should still read the book and give it a try. There's a lot more detail, things are explained a little bit more in depth. But basically you have Alex and Poppy who have been best friends since college. She is an aspiring travel writer who eventually becomes one, but it really starts out as them deciding in college that every summer they're gonna plan a new fun and exciting vacation to go on. Present day, they haven't seen each other in a few years and you don't know why. So it's told in past vacations that they've been on leading up to the last vacation they took together. It's super fun, it's super swoony, and I loved it. Next is Beach Read. Now there have been a lot of controversial opinions on the casting for this film. I need you guys to know, I have no problem with it. I also feel like the best way to explain this would literally just be to read the blurb to you, so that's what I'm gonna do. Augustus Everett is an acclaimed author of literary fiction. January Andrews writes best-selling romance. When she pens Happily Ever After, he kills off the entire cast. They're polar opposites. In fact, the only thing they have in common is that for the next 3 months, they're living in neighboring beach houses, broke, and bogged down with writer's block. Then one hazy evening, one thing leads to another, and they strike a deal designed to force them out of their creative ruts. Augustus will spend the summer writing something happy, and January will pen the next great American novel. She'll take him on field trips worthy of any rom-com montage, and he'll take her to interviewing surviving members of Backwoods Death Cult, obviously. Everyone will finish a book, and no one will fall in love. Really? This one felt especially fun because you are reading a romance about a romance writer who is trying her hardest not to give up on romance. The writer's lessons swapping back and forth, the banter, the pacing is just really good. And if you're going on a beach vacation this summer, you gotta take a beach read with you. And this one isn't a movie yet, so if you hop on it this summer, you'll be ahead of the gang and thoroughly prepared for when it does drop. Happy Place. This book is about Harriet and Wynne, who had been dating since college, but 5 months ago broke up. You don't know why, and they haven't told any of their friend groups. But for the last decade, they have all spent 1 week every summer vacationing at this beach house in Maine. But the beach house is being sold. This is their last trip together in this special place as a group. And since they haven't told any of their friends about their breakup, they decide to pretend to still be together throughout this trip, while you as the reader slowly figure out why their relationship fell apart in the first place. The end gets surprisingly emotional. All of the different personalities in the friend group dynamic, I feel, really tie this story together and make it feel well-rounded and relatable. Now, while Emily Henry, like I said, is sweet, heartfelt, and definitely has moments of humor, if you are looking for a true rom-com this summer, a book that you will not be able to help laughing out loud while reading, but still has plenty of swoon and a lot more spice than Emily Henry, may I suggest Megan Quinn. Now, these are technically her most summery books. Till Summer Do Us Part, which was last summer's release, and Rules for the Summer, this summer's release. Now, while these are all well and good, may I suggest instead the Kane Brothers series. These are my illustrated special editions. They don't look like this anymore. But the Kane Brothers series, in my opinion, is like peak 5-star Megan Quinn genius. This series in particular follows 3 brothers who have romances inspired by cult classic rom-com movies we already know and love. A Not So Meet Cute is inspired by Pretty Woman. So Not Meant to Be is a spin on the classic When Harry Met Sally tale I adore, and Enemies to Friends to Lovers. And my favorite of the 3, A Long Time Coming. Inspired by Maid of Honor with Patrick Dempsey, a true best friends, she's always been right in front of you, but now she's marrying someone else and I'm just now realizing it kind of love story. They're all hilarious and have really good spice. And you know what? If you're a voracious reader, read them all, even the summer ones. But if you're keeping your TBR smaller this summer, I would definitely recommend these ones before the summer ones. I'm so sorry, Megan. I love you. That's just my opinion. Peak. It just doesn't get better than the Kane Brothers for me. Now, let's just say for argument's sake that your vibe this summer is fun, flirty, slutty. The book I would recommend to you, Not So Lucky by Terlina Pucci. Also, so fucking laugh out loud funny. I cackled throughout this entire book. The female lead, Eleanor, is so hilarious. She has the most brilliant one-liners that will like stick with you forever. She's so like unabashedly sex positive. She's with her best friend in Vegas for 4th of July weekend, ends up running into a flirty professional athlete with his 2 best friends, and they're matching each other's energy. They're vibing, and on a dare, she marries him. But getting a divorce turns out to be a little bit more complicated than she anticipated, and she ends up having to stay in Vegas for the entire month while they get things sorted out. And some of the time, he shares her with his 2 best friends. But it's not really a wide choose because it really is just about their relationship. They're just also whores sometimes, but in the best way. I am obsessed with this book, and it is the perfect slutty rom-com in my opinion. Now, enough with the funnies. For these next recommendations, if you want something a little bit deeper, a little bit heavier, something you are not going to be able to put down, that's going to like stick with you forever, Jennifer Hartman is that bitch for me. My 2 favorites from her, Catch the Sun and June 1st. In Catch the Sun, Ella and Max were best friends when they were kids, like 6-7 years old, and she very unexpectedly gets moved away and they don't see each other again until high school. But she's moving back to town under very heavy, complicated circumstances, and he has never forgotten about her. They both have extremely complicated family dynamics that they are dealing with. Definitely both kids who are forced to grow up because of their life circumstances earlier than they should have. But their love, oh my god. I think about them all the time and how perfect they are. But June 1st, you guys. This one keeps me up at night. It really does, because I love taboo romance, and this has taboo themes, but to me, really doesn't feel all that taboo. Hear me out. This book starts out when our hero, Brant, is 6 years old, and his best friend from across the street's mom is pregnant and about to give birth to a beautiful baby girl. Something tragic happens to his parents, and the mom of his best friend, they adopt him into the family. But he grows up always feeling like he's just living at his best friend's house. He never adapts to calling the parents mom and dad. He doesn't call his best friend his brother. And this little girl, June, who was born shortly after this tragedy, he adores her and would kind of just like do anything for her. And he grows up just being very protective and attached to her. And when she grows up to be an adult, that blossoms into something more romantic. And this is like the complicated nature of those feelings, because everyone makes him feel like that's his little sister. And he just never felt like she was, even when it was innocent and childlike. But there was something about like that forbidden nature while it's still kind of being perfectly okay, and them navigating those blossoming, transitioning feelings that was just so good. Now, I would hope that all of you have either watched or are planning on watching the Off-Campus series on Amazon Prime. Adapted from the infamous Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, but some of you may not know that she has a perfect summer-coded trilogy of interconnected standalones. Good Girl Summer, Bad Girl Reputation, and The Summer Girl. Good Girl Complex is exactly what you'd think. A people-pleasing good girl, prep school, goody two-shoes, finds herself in Avalon Bay for the summer, but is just tired of all the pressure of being expected to be perfect all the time, meets local bad boy. They develop an unlikely friendship that turns into more, but he's been keeping some secrets from her that could change the whole dynamic of the relationship that they've built. So, would recommend. I actually buddy listened to this with my husband like 3 summers ago, and we both really enjoyed it. Bad Girl Reputation, I really love this one. Girl comes back into Avalon Bay after her mom passes away, and she has an ex-boyfriend who was the love of their life, but they were both kind of delinquents, partying, substances, just like irresponsible. And they both sort of fueled that side of each other. So when they broke up and she moved away, he's been devastated ever since. And now that she's back, she's determined to not be that person anymore, while she's helping her dad, who's a local, kind of get his business back up and running until he finds someone else and she can ditch this beach town again. Now, she still feels all of those things for her ex, but she's just convinced that they'll always be toxic and he can never be good for her. And he spends the whole book trying to convince her that he's absolutely willing to change and not be that person anymore if it means having her. The Summer Girl is great though, especially if you love a surfer. I love a surfer romance. And if you or a loved one has ever dealt with a narcissistic parental figure, this one, I feel, nailed that type of parent-child dynamic. Cassie's parents are divorced. Her mom is the narcissist, but she's coming back to Avalon Bay to spend the summer with her grandmother, who owns this historic hotel that she is selling. And Cassie decides, you know what I need? A fun, no strings attached summer fling. And that's where she meets Tate Bartlett, our handsome surfer boy. The issue, the second he meets her, he knows she's not a fling kind of girl. And she actually may be the coolest girl he's ever met. And so he puts her in the friend zone because he doesn't want to risk hurting her. But the more he gets to know her and the more he sees her maybe start to pursue flings with other people, he starts to maybe realize that was a mistake. So cute. And my last recommendation for you would be Do I Know You by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sidman Baroka. They are a literary married couple who co-wrote this story, and I find that particularly special because this book is about a married couple who are seconds away from calling it quits. Well beyond the 7-year itch. Their communication sucks, their sex life sucks, they've hit the ruttest of ruts, and their family sends them on this all-expense paid vacation to a resort, and they're so like disconnected and out of touch that they don't even really want to go. But because this was a gift, they kind of feel like they should. But when they get there, it turns out there is a singles conference happening at the resort. And while the husband is down at the bar grabbing a drink while he's waiting for her to get ready for their dinner reservations, he meets one of the guys there for the singles conference. And when the wife comes down, he thinks that they're both singles and introduces them like they're strangers, and they kind of just roll with it and decide to spend the rest of the weekend pretending to be strangers, flirting with each other, getting to know each other all over again. And this sort of forces them to reconnect and re-get to know each other as who they are as people right now. A beautiful and fun, I don't want to say second chance because they never broke up, but a sort of rekindling kind of romance. It was super sweet. I actually buddy read this with my mom and I still think about it very fondly. And that's my Romance and Rosé summer reading guide from me to you, book babes. Mwah! Thank you so much for watching. If there is any tried and true summer romance that was not on my list that you think should be on mine, drop it in the comments. I love receiving book recommendations as much as I love giving them out. Spread the summer love. And I'll see you in my next video. And who knows, maybe your book recommendation will make it onto my next video, which will be my summer 2026 TBR. I love you so much. Mwah! Happy reading.